Bokrima Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Raymond.
Thank you.
The question of the ANC imploding has been raised recently, first by the SACP Secretary General, and then later the head of the Mapumbukwe, Joan Letitenze. You also spoke yourself about the ANC being in decline. What do you think of the talk of implosion?
Yeah, I think that Dhlamini and Letitenze had slightly different reasons for saying the ANC could implode. Dhlamini was mainly saying they shouldn't have another electoral contest because every time they have an electoral contest, it leads in a breakaway like the EFF or the COPE. Whereas Letitenze was pointing to the sort of conflicts that are arising inside the ANC relating to the spoils of office and the sort of how much weight people place on getting elected and the reasons that he saw for that. I haven't yet read it's part of an article in a book which I haven't yet got called The Thabo Mbeki We Know, which I've ordered. I think it's very important, before answering the question, not to assume that any organization will never necessarily exist permanently. We used to talk about the Cold War for a long time, and now one of the parties to the Cold War is no more, nor are its allied states, and there are very few states in the world run by communist parties, just Cuba and Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken. And some of those states don't exist at all. And so we've got to understand that the ANC came into existence under particular conditions, and there were particular reasons that drew people to it. And over time, those conditions have changed. And I think there are factors which make it possible that the ANC will actually disappear as an organization at some point, or it could split. The sort of things I'm referring to are that there is no longer a reason that people join the ANC which relates to a particular vision, a particular idea of what it is that attracts them to the ANC. When I got involved, I was attracted, first of all, by the ethical quality of the famous leaders of the ANC, like Albert Luthuli, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, people like this who were had shown that they were willing to sacrifice everything. And this is a quality you don't get at the moment. You get the quality, instead of sacrifice everything, you are prepared to eat everything that you can get hold of, or accumulate whatever you can get hold of. This idea of ethics is something that people would laugh about and say, but you're naive, this is the 21st century. And I was also attracted to the vision that the organization had. It had a strategy and tactics. It had an idea which it could put before the world and before its membership of how it could dislodge the apartheid regime. When I got involved, the apartheid regime appeared to be immovable. And it was a situation where in the 1960s, ANC was not visible. And when I got involved in the late 60s, I read documents of the ANC, and I was very impressed that you got the impression that all the strength wasn't with the apartheid regime. All the weaknesses were not with the forces against the apartheid regime. And what you don't have today is a vision. You don't have a vision, you don't have ethical basis. The reason why people go into the ANC relates, as Joel Netshitenzhe was pointing out, to hard conditions. Even if there weren't hard conditions, people would want to go for economic advancement. But for ordinary people, if you become a councillor, it is one way of getting employed and one way of supporting a whole lot of other people who are dependent on you. So that is one of the reasons why I think the ANC is falling apart. It's not meant to be a business organization. It's not meant to be an employment agency. And when that is all that you associate with the ANC, things fall apart.
So what makes an organization or a state or another entity implode?
See, implode sounds dramatic, like explode. And I think that what can happen is that an organization can stay in existence, and I think this may have happened already, where it wins elections, but it's something completely different from what went under the name ANC some time before. That over different conditions, it has undergone a metamorphosis and become something very, very different. So in that sense, it is a sort of implosion of a sort, but it's not dramatic, and it can live on for longer. Alternatively, there can be a dramatic type of implosion, and I think we saw a mini version of that in the last week in Tshwane, where people were unable to mediate their differences. And their differences have got nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with vision, things like that. And they don't really have much to do with Togo Didiza necessarily. They have to do with uncertainties. What will happen if someone else comes? Will I still hold this position? Will I still get this contract? Things like that. So that you can have an organization like the ANC splitting into what are called factions. Now, personally, I don't agree with this word faction being used without qualification, because faction usually means a political grouping which advances a particular idea within the organization, and as opposed to another. And these are not political factions. These are just different groupings, and groupings that are allied with this person or that person. And ANC hasn't got the leadership at just about every level to hold the organization together. You've got problems in so many provinces. I mean, you have this strange phenomenon in the Western Cape where 300 people of Siskona go and join the DA this week. And one of them said a month ago or 2 months ago, the DA are just black Boers, you know, and now he's gone and joined the DA. So you have instability, and that instability is the opposite of coherence, cohesion. Cohesion is what binds people together. What binds people together seems to be disintegrating, corroding, degenerating.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity on Can the ANC Implode?